Welcome everybody to the February 8th meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust. We are all the members are in attendance. So we don't need to do a roll call. We have a couple things and a couple folks with us today, so we're going to roll through this stuff as quick as possible. With us tonight is Fiona. I know she's down on item number 5 for a town planner report, but she does have a quick update on 1727 Upton Street, and I have a couple things as well. So Fiona, why don't you take us through that real quick?
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Chair. We met with the team, we being myself and the other department heads, met with GSX and their new partners out of Southborough, Brendan. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact name in front of me, but they are a local based developer that have done some local work. I believe that they did a project in Grafton a few years ago. It's been a while since they've developed in Grafton, but they have done similar work in Southborough. I believe that they said they had done some work in some other surrounding communities. So we're happy to have them on board. So it was really an introduction and kind of meet and greet more than anything. And we were able to get, DPW, fire, myself, the water district TA's office, everybody in the room to start kind of talking about the more like granular elements of this. I think that the focus, at least from Ty and Bond's perspective, has been really tweaking the plans to conform with our wetlands bylaw, which they've done a really excellent job doing. So they've been working with that. They've been continuing to talk to planning, of course, but right now the anticipated timeline, which, is obviously evolving, depending on, different moving parts, but the plan is to file by May, with plans and kind of final sets presented to the planning department and Concom for, I think, one final review by late February. So they're moving along. Ty and Bond is doing a really wonderful job. They're meeting with fire next week, which I helped coordinate. So I think they're just wanting to make sure they have all their ducks in a row, but the project is moving forward, and with the new partners, we're excited. The GSX will still be involved, but I think the conversations will predominantly be with the Brendan Construction going forward, and Jean Christie of Ty and Bond. So that was really it, Bruce, for me. Just the fact that we had development team meeting and we started getting more serious about the conversations rather than presenting concepts. That's where we're at.
So the important piece of that note for the trust perspective is their updated timeline. I know they were here in December talking about 4 months, so they're not that far off. The other important piece of the update is bringing on Brendan Holmes as they're going to finance the rest of the project. So it looks like there's going to be funds available for everything from beginning to end, which is, very difficult to get in a project nowadays, and it bodes well for our participation, getting this like to the next level. So in May, hopefully we'll get applied for the special permit, and then around that June timeframe is when we'll need to be seated in the audience and help the process. So figure our participation at that point would be attending the meetings, the hearings, et cetera, and at least making sure we put a face to it, and make ourselves available for any questions that the planning board might have for us. The packet has, we just put in as much updated information as possible. There wasn't enough there as far as substance with the agreement between GSX and Brendan Holmes. So we're going to put that off until March before we review it thoroughly. I mean, there's not really much on our end, but there's still some logistics to go on between the two. I know they're going to have a new entity that's going to take command, which will be a partnership between them. So it might not be GSX, it'll be something else, but the idea, of course, is all the same. So we'll pay attention to it, and we'll have Kathleen pay attention to it just to make sure that it's seamless with our agreement currently with GSX, and nothing of substance changes in that agreement without our permission. So that's why we had to kind of pay attention to it. The other thing I did is, I know we talked in December when I got permission to go revitalize our efforts to engage the select board to get some of the permits, fees waived, and to renegotiate our position with the water district, which was done by Evan almost a couple years ago now. So seeing that it had been that long, I was hesitant to do anything with him until it looked like the project was actually going to get to the point where it was going to start to go forward. I didn't want to get these things in motion and wait another year waiting for GXX to get their financing. So that we had it, I went to saw them on Tuesday, and I basically just gave a quick update and asked them to look at their end of it. And I know, of course, Andy was there, which is basically waiving the local permit fees. We're going to do third-party review on all this anyway, so all that stuff is going to, the town can't waive those type of things. Graves Engineering, actually, the people are going to do a lot of that review. But from the town's perspective, we have local permitting that we just charge the company anyways, on top of going out to pay for a third party. So we'll ask for those waivers like we did in the past, and of course the select board did give us the authority to waive it, so we kind of rolled that into our negotiation of how much money we wanted to put out for this project. So they can cover sewer as well. They just can't cover water because it's own municipality. So how we worked it out back then was Evan engaged the water district to work out some type of way to not necessarily waive the hookup fees, but be able to work around the hydrant fees and some deal that they had worked on that would kind of offset some of the costs, and then those costs could come back to the trust. So I'll let Evan take another crack at that and see if it's still possible. If it's not, I don't see us wanting to, change or alter this project in any way over just those particular fees. But they are substantive, and it is part of the $2 million deal that we kind of struck with GSX. The other thing we need to pay attention to is the profit piece of it. So GSX had promised to give us a certain percentage of the profit should they meet a certain benchmark. We just need to make sure that that makes the translation into the new agreement. It wasn't a significant amount of money in the grand scheme of things, but it was still $250,000, which was something that was kind of looked at as far as our overall spend on this. So what I need tonight is just to make sure everybody's on board with going to Kathleen and have her handle all the paperwork. So getting the deal agreement to present to the select board to get signatures on the waiving. And the reason why I want her to do it is just so it has some continuity for the board. So if it takes them a year to get to the point where they're actually going to pay for those fees, which it could be, if some of us aren't here or roll off or whatever, then Kathleen is still kind of in charge and can handle all this for us. So we don't need to revote, reauthorize. We just get the agreement with the town. Everybody signs off on it. If it happens next year, then nobody has to go back and talk to anybody. And then we can, rest safe in the fact that, we're going to get that money recouped. So how it is we're going to, just not spend it. So when they go to pay those fees, it's going to be like it came out of the grant agreement, and we're just going to hold that money back. So it's a way to take it from like that 1.8 million number down to about 1.1. So anywho, anybody have any questions on that thus far? I know I'm long and convoluted on this explanation, but hopefully it was clear enough. Perfect.
Bruce,
Yes.
is there a time frame that was provided for when that document, that legal document that Kathleen's going to look over, will be finalized, or they're still they didn't?
I talked about it briefly with Kathleen, and then she's going to give us some examples of what to use, just
okay.
so staff here didn't have to spend any time running around looking at it. There are quite
Okay.
a few examples that we have found in other towns, not exactly how we're doing it, but she's going to be able to kind of bridge that gap and provide us with something. It will probably be another couple months. So,
Okay.
because we want to put the specifics in there, and we're really not going to know the exact unit counts and the exact permits that need to be waived until we get to the planning board process anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure we have something that's ready to go. So,
Okay. Sounds good.
Does anybody else have any questions or anything that we need to send back to John Grant? He's going to be at our meeting in March. All right, perfect. And everybody is okay with Kathleen handling this and not me? Great. Briefly on 25 Worcester Streets, everybody should in their packet have something for review if you've gotten a chance to take a look at it. It's basically the switching from the PNS version to the option version, which we discussed at our last meeting. This, of course, confirms on our verbal agreement with DOR to make sure we're in the confines of our RFP that we posted and was, of course, awarded to these individuals. She's happy with it as long as there's no comments or concerns with it. She's going to go forward with it. It is on them to sign for first, and then she'll come back to us after they've signed off on it for our final signature.
She said that their attorney did approve the changes that she made.
Yep. And she needs us to review it. It's kind of out of our element anyways. I mean, this is kind of what we pay her for, which is good, but we didn't give her the authority to make these types of decisions, so she wanted us to review it. We don't need to sign anything tonight. We just need anything that you see that's out of whack or anything that you want to add. Now's the time. If we don't have anything, we're just going to move on. Okay, so we'll move on to that. Would you mind sending an email to Kathleen, just say that, the
Sure.
trust is happy with it for now, and then when she needs the meeting time, she can come and tell us. The horizon on 25 Worcester Street is still going to be a couple years out, so I don't think there's any way to avoid that, but figure they'll probably be looking to do something in 2025. Here's the hoping. It probably will not be this year. So, let's see. So I'm just going to go real quick out of order, so CMRPC can go home for the evening.
I don't staying for the entire duration, no problem with me. But yeah, so the DLTA grant ended up getting so it ended up getting approved. So the ADU workshops are going to be happening and they're going to be starting. The first one, I'm just giving you guys an update. But the first one is going to be an ADU bylaw workshop. That's going to happen probably the first week of March. I will be sending out the posters and everything along that line and the webinar. It's going to be like a webinar workshop series kind of format. So that will be sent to everybody. And if you guys have any emails or anything along that line, or anybody, like if there's like an email blast list, that would be really helpful to share that with. Along with that, I just wanted to discuss maybe a food for thought, or we can set up an individual meeting and sort of how I can be of more assistance and of more help in taking more initiative. I know right now, Fiona and I had a meeting in regards to SHI inventory with the different developments and following up with the different developers. So I will be assisting with that, along with I have made initial contact with the other developers. I think there were like 4 sites, if I'm not mistaken, in the email that Fiona ended up sending to me, but I've had no luck. So I'm going to be reaching out to them again to see what housing applications and things along there are. But again, I would just love to know, maybe we can discuss the next meeting or set a different meeting and how I could be of more assistance and help. But yeah, that's a little bit of what I'm doing on my end of things.
Would you like us to just kind of keep this as an open agenda item and, have individual members be able to reach out to you on their own? Should they come up with
Absolutely.
something?
Yeah.
See something.
Sorry to cut you off. I know that the different towns have just been reaching out to me with different tasks that they are looking for me to do. Like, I'll give you an example. Mendon, as an example, was like, hey, look, Jasifa, I need help with this technical grant. Can you end up helping us write it? Et cetera, et cetera. So I was of assistance with that to like, it could be anything. So, I think that's been a little bit more easier that way. I know Upton's Affordable Housing Trust has been asking for assistance also with the technical grant. So that's what I've been assisting them with. Yeah. So, yeah, if you all want to reach out to me individually with different action items, and we can go from there, and I could, I guess, um, prioritize that way. Yeah, I would love that.
Okay, perfect. It might be easier, most of the time we meet, coalesce around an idea, and then we send it off. But in your particular situation, we only meet once a month, and
Yeah,
because I know
exactly.
Nicole was here at the last meeting, she couldn't be at this one. But I'd like to send her an email and just say to talk directly to you if she has some ideas, because I know she did.
Yeah, that would be great. It could be even like, hey, I need help with this PNS if you want to look it over, see if you find anything, or it could be anything. So yeah, just as in food for thought kind of a thing. Because I want to be more, I want to take more initiative with the housing trusts and try to be more of assistance as much as possible. Yeah. So
Does anybody have anything for tonight?
Just a thank you.
I appreciate you all bearing with me. I mean, it's been such a transition coming in and everything along that line. So I really do appreciate it. So, yeah, I want to, again, this is going to be these communities that I'm working with, and I want to be of assistance in any way I'm possible. And yeah,
So
um,
one thing I would like to see is something that the trust hasn't done is a good approach to having our marketing, what the trust does, especially now that we have some projects that are coming alive. I want to make
I-
sure that the trust gets
yeah,
credit for.
yeah, I know. What was
So
it?
good.
That's what Berlin raises a concern. So I'm assisting with their website as an example with that marketing. I know it's completely different, but um it's similar in terms of like, yeah, like I was helping them with their marketing and like what their trust is doing and what like how you can be more involved and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, sorry to cut you off, Bruce.
It just, if somebody were to look at that and see what maybe some other communities are doing, we have the resources available here. We also have staff. Not that I, want to throw more at Amber, but if we were to build a core something, we have people here who can do the updating piece of it, I think, fairly easily. And I don't know if there's grants out there that would help us with that, at least to get it funded. Or if it's something that we want to take up on our own as a trust and hire somebody to do. I just want to make sure it has a good direction and it's going to be worthwhile. So, and I'm not up to date on all the other towns like you are as far as what their trusts are doing. So, but it would be nice, especially if we actually get a building put up that we had an essential role in, that the trust gets credit for that when we do future endeavors. It would help as one of the list of things that we've done. The notoriety helps as well, especially when we're going to ask for more money to do something else, and everybody knows. The other thing I'd like to do is when we talked about the housing production plan, is we spent some time talking about doing a condensed like 2 or 3 sheeter that would have all the relevant information, especially the demographic information that goes a little bit beyond the executive summary and a little bit more
So I'm working on something along that line. I'm just wrapping up Berlin's story map, which they do have the demographics and everything along that line. And I've done a 1-sheeter or done a 2-sheeter for them. Next up is going to be Grafton, so that's on its way. I was asking Fiona for pictures, but if you guys have beautiful pictures of Grafton and anything along that line, that would be great. It would be something that would be awesome to add in. But yeah, sorry to cut you off. That's in the I know that that's in the remarks on that.
I think it'd be valuable because the housing production plan's gone. It's on its shelf. Dan will read it like once or twice a year. I might pick it up in a couple of years. Who knows? But outside of that, it might not get a lot of traction. But if it's nice and we get the cliff notes available, I think it's helpful.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Anybody else have anything?
Only because Josepha mentioned grants a couple times. Are there grants that we should be pursuing that other communities are currently pursuing that could assist in anything or anything interesting that you've come across?
I mean, there's one grant that I'm thinking of, or we are thinking of applying for. It's going to be through AARP, and it's like a community grant. What I was thinking that would be great is I know these smaller towns need assistance in terms of the research or in terms of like conversation and how these other towns are doing. So, kind of like a regionalized conversation dialogue with all the housing trusts. So that's one grant that I will be applying for because I know that other towns have mentioned concern in it. That's going to be next in the making because I know with the housing production plan that Grafton had as an example, one of the things that was mentioned was like ADUs as a part of the 5-year plan. So that was a big and I know the other towns have mentioned ADUs and affordability and spreading educational knowledge on affordable housing. So that was a big reason why I was doing the DLTA project. The next thing that I want to tackle that I'm hearing from all these other towns that they're mentioning is just a regional dialogue and regional assistance with like smaller towns. That's also something else that I'm hearing. So like I think that would be of assistance too. When I'm drafting out the because I'm going to be talking to Gloria, who is I think she's an assistant planner for CMRPC. I'm going to do like this one sheet. It's like the first round of the grant is like this one sheeter. So I will send you all the one sheeter if you want to see what it is propagating and the summary and everything along that line, because that's the first submission. If you all are interested in that one.
That'd be great.
And we're a housing choice community at Josefa, so we'll probably get priority designation for some
Exactly.
initiatives and money that's out there. So
Yeah, and it's free of cost. So it's just me putting in the application and me going ahead and doing that. So that's the next thing that I'm also working on with Gloria on that. So I will definitely send that. It's just one sheet, so it's not too bad to read. So yeah, I'll definitely send that over once that's done next week.
Great. Anybody else have anything? All right. So you staying on?
Yeah, I don't mind staying on, or if you want me to log off, I can log off.
No, and I know there might be some relevant material in the next. We're going to talk about the master plan real quick.
Yeah, I was gonna stay on until the master plan. Yeah.
Perfect. So we have an item that was requested to be put on here by Colleen Roy, who's kind of our delegate, or one of the delegates to the master plan committee, or at least one of the vice chair, one of the very active members of our community. So she's with us tonight, and part of Fiona's town planner report also has something to do with this, so we can kind of handle the remainder of number 5 and number 3 together. So welcome, Colleen. I'll just let you take the floor.
So the reason I asked to come in tonight was because the master plan is starting to work on goals and objectives for certain topics, and one of the first topics we're working on is housing. Later this afternoon, and I don't know if I had time to get sent to all you guys, but we were given some key findings and an example of what a high-level goal might look like. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys to see if you guys had any goals or ideas that you might want to see included in the master plan. It doesn't have to get down to a granular level. It's very high level still. But we're looking to collect that over the next week or two and submit them all to Fiona so that we can all start working on that as the master.
Is it okay if we do that on an individual basis and
Yeah.
just submit them away?
I just wanted to make sure that the Affordable Housing Trust was absolutely involved in that and reached out to so that it made its way to the
And would
master
it
plan.
be easier for us if we have some ideas or initiatives we want to look at that we just send them all to Amber so they're collected and
Yeah.
send them over to you?
Yeah, I'd love that.
Okay. So channel it through Amber.
And if you could do it in the next week or two, that would be even better.
Yeah,
It's
Fiona,
not
you
a-
don't need to put your hand up. You can just go.
yeah, just obviously the trust and the master plan working group totally own this, and staff are supposed to just take a backseat. But whatever we can do, I think, to merge the planning efforts that we've done already, particularly our housing production plan, what we can do to bolster that. It's it's probably a good idea to kind of think about that too, and how we can forward both simultaneously, long-term goals with the housing production plan and the master plan.
Can planning office take a look at the need for town land to be used for cemeteries in the future?
No,
What do you mean, no, you can't do that?
no, did I see anything for that? Or are you just asking in general
No, I
going
just
forward
want
for
you-
cemeteries?
I want you to throw it out there. I don't want to throw it out myself, but I would love to have staff be able to put something together in a master plan environment that has a professional looking at when we're gonna need to expand our cemetery facilities as far as a town.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'll make sure that the consultants get that feedback.
That's a town service, I'd say, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, we have a
Mhm.
town service director.
So I've been told in the past.
So yeah, that's really all I came in here for, was to just, you know, and I don't know if you were able to forward that over to everybody. So that like on page 2, it shows you an example of what a goal would look like, and yeah. So thank you guys. You
That's
know-
it.
Yeah, I told you it was gonna be like super quick.
Huh.
I'm efficient.
Fiona said that she'd need at least 7 minutes for this.
Well, she might. I didn't.
Oh,
Well, I was multiple things. And Colleen is definitely more efficient than I am, that's for sure.
do you have anything more for us, Fiona, for the town planner report?
I actually had a couple questions for the trust, if you're ready for me to do that.
I suppose.
Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to navigate something that, granted, I haven't done a whole lot of deep diving into this because I haven't had time. But so I was walking the Fisherville Mill site with the property owner
Jean Burnett?
not too long ago, and he mentioned that there was an earmark of funds from the trust for development of a portion of the land there.
There is no earmark of funds for any type of development concern there. It's something that
There is not.
there is not.
Okay. Yeah, I was didn't, I told him, I said, Mr. Burnett, I told him that we would be meeting on Thursday and then he's like, oh, we'll ask, and I said, okay, I'll make sure to make a point to ask, but I haven't seen anything. Granted, I haven't been here that long. I know that project goes way, 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 way back.
Yeah.
Probably multiple, housing trust chairs, multiple planners, but, yeah, if I was dropping the ball on something, I just wanted to make sure that I was not. Okay, that's fine. And I just had another question about, so we had a monitoring agreement as part of the Winslow Point process. Well, the regulatory agreement for Winslow Point have like a monitoring piece to it. And I guess I was just curious, kind of went around our 40B council, who does look at does mainly 40B work, but also helps with review of regulatory agreements for the town. Had mentioned that in the case of like a resale or refinancing way down the line, we want to make sure that we're taking the proper precautions and that we should be designating either the town or the state or somebody to be handling that process. To which I responded, my knowledge in Grafton, the town does not handle that.
We've always
EOHLC would do that.
Yeah, we've always farmed it out. So
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, it doesn't, I responded and said, planning doesn't have the capacity to be taking that on. And to my knowledge, I mean, I'll check with the trust, but to my knowledge, that wasn't something that was done. And I inquired with CHAPA, who does this all the time, and they said that they would do it, but I'm realizing after the fact, after meeting with the state, meeting with CHAPA, meeting with a bunch of people, it's still going to be a cost for the town. So, that's just not something that we can do.
always in the past, we've always used Chapman. So I thought they
Have we paid them?
No, we never
For this service?
We never paid them for the service. They just did it for us. So whatever they worked out with the private developers or whatever they did as far as like monitoring, it was always on the actual developer. The trust was never
Okay.
in a position where we could handle our own monitoring services or provide those services for groups. So I think
Okay.
at one time we had talked about being able to, you know, run our own lottery here, be able to handle those type of things, and we never put it down because it was just too expensive.
Mhm.
So I don't know how
Okay.
far you wanted to go with it. Like actual handling a lottery and things of that nature is something that we could technically do, but we never really had the inventory, so we never really had enough to monitor, so to speak. So we
Right. I mean, it is an awful lot of coordination and work and to like, but it was just something that I was like, okay, I haven't dealt with this, but maybe Grafton is maybe, I'm missing something, but yeah, I think I'll just circle back with CHAP and let them know that, they probably will need to work directly with Pulte to figure that out. Okay. Just more of a, just checking. And then something else I wanted to say, and I'll end with this, is similar to what Josefa was speaking to earlier. CMRPC, our consultant who was helping us with the MBTA Communities bylaw, approached me and asked if I wanted to be part of a pilot for the MBTA. It's called MBTA Communities Mixed Use Incentives. So we went after DLTA, which is District Local Technical Assistance funding for this, which is no cost of the town and a service offered by CMRPC, which is super great. And I've been able to take advantage of. So the project, basically Grafton would be serving as a pilot because we're I think we're the first community in Central Mass to get our MBTA Communities bylaw in. And we haven't.
Yes. And that
Yeah.
was amazing. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, I was pretty happy about getting that through relatively quickly. But I think, because we're the first, we're kind of now the pilot for certain things, which, I love helping with. So I think that what we're going to do is we're going to pursue a project. It's about $7,500 of DLTA funding to examine the possibility of density bonuses to promote mixed use in the districts that we are using for MBTA communities compliance. We're hearing a lot from, especially throughout the master plan process, and even in the housing production plan during that process, we were hearing the desire to see mixed use types of development in town. So we're examining that option through this with CMRPC, and hopefully we'll be able to get some good data and present something actionable that we'll take to town meeting. Hopefully by, I would think, the latest spring 2025. But yeah, the project is, the goal would be by fall 2024, but it depends on, how the project unfolds.
it would be nice
So yeah.
if you were to look at that and approach it like from a study perspective on what we can do here to encourage it, seeing that we have so many developers that are in the development state, it might behoove us to kind of pick their brains a little bit about why they don't want to use some of our mixed use
Right.
overlay districts that we currently have. Like 17 and 27 Upton Street is a prime example of why it really doesn't work. Because, it's tough to get the financing to begin with, but if you're dedicating 10, 12, 15,000 square feet of space to commercial, they're just not going to get a return on it. And I don't know if the answer to that is, okay, well, give them that type of, density to compensate for having the commercial space or providing it. But when you're talking about moving from a private residential subdivision type of thing or apartment complex to something that's going to promote a lot of public access, it's difficult. Our parking is restrictive enough as it is. So,
Yeah.
trading residential spaces that are dedicated to a unit count and then saying, well, you also need another 50 spaces for commercial, it's a little bit burdensome. So if there's ways to get around that, or if there's ways to navigate or incentivize it by maybe even more density, or maybe relieving some of the height restriction on buildings, or the complications that come with doing underground parking garage and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think that we're really going to need to study this extensively. It might even potentially be, another DLTA application that we apply for, because I can foresee, especially with the building heights, pushback
Well,
for
sure.
that. And yeah, so, it's just, it's definitely something that we're interested in, something that we would like to see. And I'll keep you posted. I haven't had my first meeting with CMRPC yet, because we only just found out that we got the award. So I'll keep you all posted, and if whatever, if I need like a letter of support or something, or if something along those lines, I'll let you know. And if anyone on the trust is interested and wants to, work closely with me on this, that would be great.
Dan does.
And that's it. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Fiona. Does anybody have any questions for the town planner? Great. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We get a couple of administrative things to do, so if you want to hang around for them, or if you want to bow out now,
Thank you.
have a good night.
Thanks, Fiona.
Bye.
So we have a bill from GSX. I'll entertain a motion to authorize the chair to sign invoice number 24-0500-02 in the amount of $12,500.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. I will go ahead and sign that bill. And then I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of January 11th, 2024 as drafted.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. Good meeting minutes. I will
They were
entertain a
alright.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it, Todd. Thank you for filming. Thank you very much, Amber, for putting this all together for us.
Sure.
And good night, everybody.